Well, Annette, as we get started here today, before we talk about the actual show, congratulations, a Critics' Choice TV Award nomination as Best Drama Supporting Actress. What did you think about that particular honor?
Thank you. I found out from a fan on Twitter that morning, so I didn't know, I didn't know if it was true or if, he wanted me maybe to win. So I had to, look some more, and it was true. It was really exciting. Yeah.
Well, there's so many good dramas on these days. To be singled out, narrowed down to six ladies, I mean, that's really, really a credit to what you've done this season.
It is. It is.
Well, you play Nina on The Americans, and let's kind of start at the end and work our way backwards. By the way, spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't seen this season or the end of the season, because we got to talk about it here. As we see you at the end of the season, you're maneuvering all season long, double agent, trying to work both sides of the fence, but now you're in a car, possibly headed back toward Russia, maybe to be executed.
It's not an easy road for Nina. Never has been. Yeah, she got that note from Stan. I should have saved that note actually. Me personally.
You could have put that on
Um,
eBay and made a fortune.
um, yeah, I think it'll always be like this for Nina. It's sure it always has been like this. Every episode, you don't know. Her life is always on the line. You don't know if she will survive another day, another episode. And I don't think that will change.
Well, she's always working both sides. I don't think we as the fans, I don't know if you as an actress truly know what she's thinking in her mind.
Yeah, and it sort of comes up when with Oleg, there's always seconds when I feel like when you see them just, be completely human, and who they are, but just for a second, and I think that happens when they talk about Lenin, her pain in her childhood for a moment, her Nina and Oleg, and he tells her how much he admires her for her work, and and tells her you can do anything, and she says, I know, and that's what I'm afraid of. And I think that's how it's been for her. She's By playing both sides, she's found, truth on both sides. And um and yeah, I mean, she's capable of anything.
Maybe that is going on in her mind too. It's not a matter of believing anymore because she is in this situation where she's been having the affair with Noah's character, and she's working for the Russian embassy and trying to keep them happy. She's just literally trying to make it from hour to hour. Whatever she needs to say, whatever she needs to do.
She really is. There's so much weight, on every decision that she has to make. There's so much responsibility. There's it's almost, it's makes it hard to breathe, let alone, figure out what it is, what it is that you really believe.
Well, it's so good to see you laughing and smiling today because you never get to show that side on the program.
Yeah, it's funny. There are moments of joy, but even those moments are, you wonder, there's so many things going on. You have, again, a second of like truly, she has a second of truly maybe enjoy herself, but then it's back to, okay, I can't, what is he thinking? What am I thinking? What do I want him to think? And um, yeah, because even the moments, the things that make her really happy, perhaps, no one can know because that becomes your weakness, and yeah, and she has to survive.
It has
She's
been interesting.
ultimately
I'm sorry, go ahead.
you got she's ultimately on her own, yeah.
A woman with no country, really.
That's one way to see it.
The the interesting thing about this season, as opposed to the first season, we've seen even more of the inner workings of the Russian embassy and more characters brought on board. What did you think about? Well, first of all, what did you know about this period of the Cold War between the two countries?
Uh, a lot, a lot. Yeah, I was there, as I was really little, but I've seen. I remember my parents at that time. My parents were there. They know a lot about that, and I've talked to my parents a lot, and from what my early memories, and through school, what I've learned, and my genes, I guess.
Have you heard from
um,
anybody that maybe worked in this period, lived in this period, to let you know how accurate or not it was?
well, my dad was actually a journalist during that period in that place. So he watches it, and and my mom is Russian. So they're both really pleased. They think cultural reference are very accurate, and history. It's right on. So
Well,
the
we
closest.
spoke with Noah a few minutes ago, and you have a lot of scenes with him. He talked about you, so let me hear you talk about him. What makes him special to work opposite?
Oh, he's got a wonderful play spirit. We get in there and we play freely, and he's we both support that. We feel safe to play and to discover beyond what's written or could be or should be, and we surprise ourselves, and that's so much fun, and going in, he's got a lot more experience, doing this. He's been doing this for a long time, and so it was wonderful for me to come in and play opposite him. At the same time, I was wondering, I'm sure he likes to do things a certain way, and he doesn't like to do things in a different way. But he's, we're just kids playing, on a playground, and I don't know, it's been so much fun.
When we talked to Matthew and Carrie last week, and I particularly asked Matthew, I said, "You've got this split show because he and Carrie have their own little world of a show they're doing, and you and the Russian embassy and Noah have your own little show." And Matthew said, "Yeah." He said, "One of the fan questions was, will Nina ever get a scene with the Jennings?" And he said he would love that. Would you love to do something with the Jennings?
Oh, so Stan would love that because he would catch Nina when she's
Right.
doing.
Oh, Matthew said that. Matthew said he would love a scene with you.
No, it would be fun, but see, Stan knows what Nina looks like, so it
Oh,
would
that's
be
right. That's right. He would find that
like
odd
that.
that she was meeting with his next door neighbors.
Yes. So maybe they're trying to set me up here and trying to get me caught, if that's what they're plotting. But no, I would totally be interesting. We could speak in different languages. Well, we could speak in Russian, and then Stan wouldn't understand a word we're saying,
Well, that's true. But
except
like you
trust.
said, if he sees the three of you together, I think some red flags are going up.
Yes.
Talk to me about. We're going to have your showrunners Joel and Joe on this Friday, and
Hmm.
what would be a question you would want me to ask them?
Oh, how they do what they do. Yeah, how they do what they do. It's really they put together this world, and and it doesn't cease to fascinate me episode to episode, and I'm so inspired by their writing.
Talk to us about a typical episode cycle. What happens first? Do you get a script at home first?
I do, even not like maybe a week before we shoot, before we start, season two, we got it, I don't know, a week before we started shooting it, or 10 days is the earliest. And then and then you get the next episode like 4 days before you start shooting it. It's, it's always, it's always a surprise. And
What happens then? Do you obviously you're going to memorize your part of the script, but because this does have separate storylines, do you have a typical table read with everybody?
yeah, you know what? It always we're together a lot. We see each other a lot. We have a table read. We all come to it, and we all play, and yeah, we're together a lot.
And then once the show airs, is that when you get a chance to see what's happening in the spy part of the world and what else has been shot?
I'm sorry.
When you actually sit down to watch the episode, is that when the first chance you get to see the other parts of the storyline?
Uh, yes, I always imagine them so vividly when I read it, so I feel like I've seen them before. But in some of the things we're in different sets, but some of the resident tour is on the same stage as the Jennings tourism office, so we run into each other a lot. So I see certain, sometimes I'll sit and watch them do their thing on the monitors. So not always, but yeah, either way, when you see it on screen, it's a different experience, and it's it's mind blowing.
Are you like Carrie? She said that she doesn't like to. She'll fast forward through her part just to watch you and Noah and some of the other things, but she doesn't want to watch her part.
I like to watch. I like to watch the whole story, and sometimes they play it again uh, right after. So sometimes I even watch it twice. But I get so absorbed into the whole story that I don't know. I'm movies, I can watch them 10 times. It's always a new discovery. I don't mind watching Nina. Nina is Nina. Annette is Annette. So it doesn't it doesn't bother me.
What about this particular time period, the early '80s? Is that fun to play? I'm sure as kids everybody loves to play different dressing up and all that kind of stuff. And here you get to do the hair and the makeup and the clothes from the early '80s.
Oh, it's great. I sit in big rollers for like an hour before we shoot, and my, those wonderful Nina dresses I absolutely love. It's it's really it's so transforming. So it's really fun to go to that time, and I even put on 80s music because it's also so much fun.
Kind of puts
And
you
it's
in that frame of mind.
I'll be wearing Nina's long dress, and she's very proper and put together, and then I put you know Blondie's "Call Me" comes on, so it's interesting. I have a good time with it.
Put you in the right frame of mind.
Sure does.
What's the time frame like now? When does the show go in production for season 3?
That's a good question to ask Joe and Joel when you talk to them.
Because
But
you,
we always shoot during the coldest time of the year. That's been consistent.
right, and it typically comes back on in the early spring.
Yeah, yeah. January, February. That's been our time.
And we've got to figure out if you're going to be back on this thing or not. I mean, as it ended, you're driving off in a car. We presume that you're headed back to Russia for terrible things to happen, but you never know. I mean, hopefully they'll get everything worked out for you to come back.
Yeah. Do you think if she goes to Russia, she? What do you th you What do
Well,
you
I
think?
mean, I think it's a
You do the
spin-off show for you.
for me.
Yeah, a
You
spin-off
do the
show for you, like in prison.
yes. That's a possibility.
Red is the new black.
Yeah. And maybe, Nina will have a really good time, huh?
That's
And that
right.
will actually be better for her than staying, hanging out in America. Because it's been so dangerous and, serious.
My personal feeling is, and I'll ask Joel and Joe this. I don't think they'll tell me one thing about it, but my personal feeling is that they were using you just sort of as bait. That you're not really leaving the country, and while you may be on this whole next season, I think whatever happens, your character, her life is totally going to be totally different in some kind of way or another.
Yeah, and it's really nice at the end to see that Stan is there, that last moment, and Oleg. Everyone's there for her, even though, it looks like she's leaving.
Well, they all are invested in her in some way or another, and all care about what happens.
Yes, they sure have come to say their goodbyes.
And
Or
nobody
not.
cares more about her than you. Well,
Well,
listen, thank you
Nina's a
so much today. Good luck with the Critics' Choice. Are you going to go to the ceremony?
I will, yeah. I have to.
Yeah, it's just in a few days, so enjoy that, and maybe that'll turn into an Emmy nomination over in July. Well,
Well,
good
thank you,
luck. We
Chris.
think the Americans will do well
Yeah,
at the Emmys this summer, and we really appreciate your time today.
absolutely. Good talking to you.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.